Hey y'all, it's your girl Miss Nia Imani from Fabulous Life International. Welcome back to Higher Self Season. Today we're going to be talking about take the road less traveled. I know when you are thinking about taking a trip, especially by yourself, it may be scary, overwhelming, but truthfully I had always wanted to go to Chicago, and recently I was heading to California and accidentally booked a long ass layover in Chicago, but it wound up working out. I didn't, get all worked up or anything. I just got online, started looking for rooms, and I had a really good time. Chicago is a vibe. If you've never been there, I definitely suggest that you take a trip someday soon. But taking the road less traveled is going to set you apart from everybody else. I personally do not ever meet a stranger. I always show myself friendly, and that pays off for me. It doesn't work for everyone, but what I will say is starting this trip in Atlanta at the airport, I met Annalisa and her son, Adam, and they were just off the chain, okay? Ironically, they live in Atlanta. They used to live in Chicago, and they're originally from the Philippines, but they just kind of took me up under their wings and said that they would show me how to catch the train, which they did. Their sister met them at the train. She lives in Chicago. She even paid for my train ride. They made sure I got to my room. And the room that I chose online, had never ever been to this particular hotel before, was literally 4 minutes from the train station. And like I said, I was in Chicago by myself, and it was just really a different experience. This is what is called the hostel, and I'd never stayed in a hostel before either, but a friend of mine that I met in Atlanta, she's originally from California as well. She went to Bali, and she mentioned that she stayed in a hostel and it was pretty cool. So I said, you know what, it can't be that bad. So I went ahead and booked my room, and I wound up having an amazing time. This is the entrance to the hotel here, and I just want to say that I could, again, have been, really nervous, really scared, but I decided to take the road less traveled. It was something that I'd never done before. I got a room that had it accommodated 8 other people, but it was only 4 of us that winded up being in this particular room. When I first got there, I met a young lady named Jennifer. She was visiting from Africa, Zambia, Africa. This was her first time in the United States, and I just sat on my bed because I'm always a tourist. This is my friend Jennifer right here. Soon as I got there, I just, introduced myself, let her know I was about to go walk around Chicago to see what's popping. She hopped up out that bed so fast. She was like, I'll go with you. This is us, walking around Chicago. I mean, we connected on a very organic level. You would have thought that I've known her for a long time. We walked and walked, ended up at the what is it called? Louis Madon's? Yeah, y'all know from Chicago, y'all Chicagoans, y'all know what I'm talking about. But anyway, it's a famous pizza place, and her and I just exchanged, dialogue and exchange different variances for culture. I took a bunch of pictures of her. I made sure she had some memories to take back to Africa. She was only there for, I think, 24 hours as well. She was heading to Wisconsin because she had got chosen for a summer camp program to work with children here. So this is part of our tour of downtown Chicago. This is an ABC building. And Chicago was live. I mean, it was a lot of people. The weather was perfect. We had an opportunity to just see a whole bunch of stuff. This is probably where they have like plays and stuff like that. And then the next morning, we went to breakfast, and I had already booked me a tour. I wanted to do like a boat tour, and so that was part of the boat tour that I took. And they took us all through the riverbank there in Chicago, and we were able to see a lot of the different buildings. The architecture and stuff in Chicago is by far some of the best architecture that I have seen. New York is cool too. This is another view of the hostel. This was breakfast. Breakfast was great. They have a full kitchen in there. I know a lot of people were asking me, oh my God, what is a hostel like? It gave me Google vibes. It gave me like tech office building vibes. There was a lot of, just different cultures of people there as well. They have a really cool rec room that had like games and stuff in there that you could go in there and play. And this is the actual boat tour. We were getting on the boat, and the Trump building, that's the Trump building right there. I think I have another video that shows it a little bit better, but man, he has a huge building. There it is right there in the riverbank area of Chicago. And the boat tour was really good because again, it just shows you like the limitless possibilities that you can create when you just put your mind to it. I was a novice on catching the train in Chicago, but by the time I, went from one place to the next, I was able to kind of just catch my rhythm and catch my flow. The entire experience was beautiful, and a lot of it is because it was not planned. It was super spontaneous, and I didn't have a whole lot on my itinerary or agenda, of course, because I wasn't going to be there that long, but I was able to do a lot in a very short period of time because I was not afraid to go with the flow. I was not afraid to take the road less traveled. I was not afraid to stretch myself beyond the capacity on anything that I had ever done before. I wasn't afraid to try something new. And a lot of times we stay in this little box that we have created for ourselves, whether it be our hometown, whether it be in a relationship, whether it be in a friendship or whatever. And this is your notice. This is your challenge to stretch yourself beyond your capacity, because there's so much in this world for you to see and explore and experience before your time has come for you to go on into the next before your time comes for you to go into the next, phase of life or whatever, because, we have eternal life with Christ, and we never know what's going to be our next step that we take once we leave this realm of living. So I just want to give you a little boost of encouragement, through my life and through the things that I'm stepping outside of my comfort zone and being able to do as well. And this was just a little opportunity for me to share my trip to Chicago, and this was at a pizza place, a Greek spot that I went to and had lunch there. Then I headed back to the airport on the train, and I had an encounter with a young lady that literally almost brought me to tears. I was walking across the street, and she was like, hey, you're so beautiful. I just love you so much. Like, she just gave me this big old hug, and I didn't know her either, but it just goes to show you that energy is transferable, and that when you go places with a pure intention and with a good heart, people will see that and good things will come to you. Don't be afraid. If you carry that energy like, oh, what's going to happen? I'm by myself, this, that, and the other. Sometimes you could attract bad things. So when that lady, caught eye contact with me from one side of the street to the other, and a lot of times when you go into big cities like Chicago, New York, even when I went to New York, people was like, oh, don't look people in the eye. People are mean. They'll pickpocket you, da-da-da-da-da. I had the exact opposite experience in New York, and I had a beautiful experience in Chicago. So again, you have to be able to listen to your own intuition. You have to be able to trust yourself. You have to know that, stepping into any type of atmosphere or environment, and bringing, your best self, you will in exchange attract that from other people. So again, this is just a little tidbit from my trip to Chicago, and don't forget to take the road less traveled.